Good morning, everyone, and thank you and welcome to the CONNX InstantdbSync webinar, Real-Time Replication and Why You Need It. So my name is Harpal Gill, and I'm with CONNX Solutions. I'm an SVP of Sales. I'm joined by my colleagues Paul Davis, Senior Business Development Manager, and Kurt Jensen, Technical Service Manager. For today's webinar, we will go through a quick overview of who CONNX is, and then we'll jump into the core of the information, which is InstantdbSync and real-time replication. We'll take a look at some of the use cases for InstantdbSync, and then we'll take a look at some other real-time solutions for dissemination of information. We'll follow that by a demonstration of the products, and we'll transition into question and answer. And again, we'll keep this all to just under 30 minutes. So who is CONNX Solutions? Well, we've been around for over 25 years, since 1989. We originally started out as a subsidiary to a large consulting corporation called Solutions IQ, and we were spun out as a standalone company in 2001. We currently have relationships with companies like Microsoft, Software AG, SAP, SunGard, IBM, and many, many more. We're a privately held company and have been profitable every quarter since inception and have a proven management team. Our motto or our focus is really two things: data access and data movement. Provide access to data regardless of where it resides. We originally started out as an API on the DEC platform, and we transitioned into or evolved the product into a Windows, Unix, or Linux-based SQL engine for the purpose of data access to mainframe, legacy, non-relational, relational, desktop, cloud, and or in-memory device data sources. Today we have support for over 120 different databases, and again, on multiple different platforms. We are a leading provider of data access, data virtualization, data integration, data warehousing, data replication, including change data capture. We have over 3,200 customers worldwide. Maybe you see some of your organizations on this slide. We're in over 40 different countries and quite a number of different customers from all verticals of business, whether it be finance, government, education, healthcare, a number of different verticals. As I mentioned earlier, we have quite a number of partners. Some are OEM partners, whether it be Software AG, HP, ADP, or a number of other technology-based partners. Again, quite a number of different partners for you to take a look at. So before I transition into the part of the presentation, I'd like to talk about or touch on a little Gartner quote here that sort of sets the stage for today's presentation. So today, 70% of the most profitable companies will manage their business processes using real-time, predictive analytics, or extreme collaboration. The impact of integrating real-time analytics with business operations is immediately apparent to business people because it changes the way they do their jobs. So really the focus of today's webinar is real-time replication, real-time access to the data to drive business needs in real time. At this point, I'm going to transition to my colleague Paul Davis, who's going to take you on a tour of the real-time solutions, and then we'll go into a demonstration and we'll circle back with Q&A. Paul, over to you.
Great. Thank you, Harpal. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning. As we start talking about InstantdbSync, InstantdbSync is our real-time synchronization tool that will allow you to get up and running with our tool in about an hour to an hour and a half. We'll even go on the high end for the hour and a half. It allows you to import all the source and data targets that you need and create the mappings that you need for real-time synchronization. We have found the tool, based upon our customers telling us this, we can say whatever we want, is an easy-to-use, simple, straightforward interface which makes setup, usability of using it on the high end. Designed for multi-machine, think of the Oracle grid philosophy of multiple machines and aggregating all that power for one use. We're designed for that scalable style. And then as you do any project, you need to minimize the risk. reason we mention minimizing risk is because anytime you start a project, you have a heavy learning curve. You need to figure out if you're going to be able to eliminate program coding or one-time fixes for all this, and we're able to do all that. And here's kind of an overview, high level of our architecture. Your application, whether it's SAP, Microsoft Dynamics, whatever the application is, we're going to feed that into a real-time data synchronization tool, InstantdbSync. Now, the back end of that, coming out of that, it could be a data warehouse, it could be a data hub, a staging area, a failover system, or whatever use cases you may have. Let's go into a little bit more of that. So some of our sources the sources we are working with now are SQL Server and database. Now saying all that, we also easily work with all the cloud-based solutions of SQL Server, so the Amazon cloud, the AWS cloud. And then you take those real-time changes, and as they happen, you propagate them over to a target. And as you can see, we've listed a couple of targets here that are very popular ones, and I'm going to go into those in more detail right now. So when you go to a target, high level, the target is, another relational database. But you always want to do this with a data warehouse to have maybe an appliance, or maybe you're doing high-speed, real-time analytics, and you're going to need some kind of analytical tool like an in-memory database. We can handle all those, including some of the more popular data warehouses that are not in those two types, like Teradata and others. So now that we've gotten all the data from your real-time OLTP system over to a data hub, a staging area, other one, let's talk about real-time connections to that data. Excel is probably the most popular tool in our eyes, and not just Microsoft's, with over 1 billion users for BI. We have found, being in the space that we're in for data movement and data warehousing, that people take a business intelligence tool and download the software and then put all the data that they get and put it back down to Excel. So we're giving a direct connection right to Excel. 2 clicks will get you to any of the 120 databases that Harpal mentioned. And here's kind of a snapshot. And Kurt Jensen, who will be showing you the product a little later on, will go into more detail on what it looks like. We just had an option within Excel, and within 2 clicks, one to go to the location of the data, and the second one to just choose the tables and columns that you want. We'll bring all that data back into Excel, so now you can have real-time view of that data as it exists on your legacy systems from any of those 120 databases. Another way to consume the data is to push it down to a mobile device. Streaming analytics. Everybody knows streaming analytics these days. If you have an iOS device, if you've got an Android device, a Windows device, whether it's a phone, a tablet, or whatever else, we actually have some folks who are looking at this webinar on their mobile devices. We can actually push some of that data using KPIs. If you're familiar with conditional formatting, we take advantage of that. The conditional formatting being red lights, yellow lights, green lights. So let's use an example of retail. It's coming up on the winter time. If you have snow shovels as part of your inventory, you want to keep track of that as the storm is hitting on the East Coast. You want to know, with a green light scenario, I have enough in stock. And you set those metrics yourself. The yellow, it could be that storm is coming down and people are buying more of them, and you get into a cautionary area where you want to check on that. And then red naturally is the warning area. You need to do is take some action. And it's more of an creating a pseudo dashboard, but bringing the information down to a mobile device. All of this gets tied together because InstantdbSync gives you that data that you need from your real-time systems and pushes it to another location. And I'll leave it as another location, a data warehouse, a data hub, or an application. And then you consume it either directly with real-time, with Excel, with our Excel add-in, or you push it down to a mobile device. These are some of the ideas and options that we're going to give you, and that mobile device will be for your analytics, your streaming analytics to KPiSync. So that's how you can use our software. Let's talk about how a couple of our customers have used this now. And we've got about 3 or 4 use cases on this. The first two I'm going to talk about is an insurance company. we've got a property management company, $1 billion in the U.S., that what they had for an issue is they had a very large SQL Server system and they wanted to put it into a SQL Server data warehouse. Because their 9,000 plus agents needed to get access to the data and have a single view of all the data. And once they got that, they were able to do some metrics on it and get some better analytics. The second case is more of a retail spin on it. It's a supply company in the United States, and they've got 200 stores, very common for the mid-range to largest retail operations, and they needed to roll up daily sales. So they have all the stores, and what they were finding is they couldn't make decisions during the day without having to get all the information at nighttime. So they wanted to roll it up, 200 stores, and they put it to a corporate hub, a data hub, and from there they actually spun off data marts. So individual people, whether it's the regional managers, district managers, or even corporate, could do some reports using their BI tools. Healthcare. Obamacare has been really helping a lot of people because it's now giving people access to more information. And the reason I say it that way, there's more people using the healthcare system, and so now the healthcare industry has come to us and said, we need some help getting reporting of all the information we have. So we've got a healthcare provider, I think these guys are in the Midwest, and they had SAP, and they wanted to get a data warehouse and a straightforward, quicker, faster, and easy-to-use data warehouse than, I'll even say, that SAP can provide right now. And they wanted dashboarding. That was one of the big things for these guys. And they found out with using the CONNX tool suite, they were able to get the information into that data warehouse, do some dashboarding, and that can be used by all the different lines of business. And the last one is at East Coast University. We kind of lumped it into government because they're a public university. And what they have is a student information system. And if all of you have kids going to school, in colleges, you know that the kids live off the student information system, and so you. Well, they need to tie that into some other ERPs that they have to create a single view of all the information. And what was happening is some of the provosts and some of the professors wanted to get information that was inside of their student information system and other systems back to a single reporting tool. And there was a variety of BI tools from ClickTech to Tableau to Microsoft reporting services. So we kind of showed you a little bit of what can be done. We showed you some use cases on how other people are doing it. I'm going to turn it over to Kurt, who's actually going to show you the products, show you InstantdbSync for real-time replication, the Excel Add-in for real-time reporting, and then KPiSync, the streaming analytics tool. Kurt?
Thank you, Paul. All right, we're going to jump over to my machine, and I'm going to show you a little bit about our product here. InstantdbSync is a true replication tool. In and of itself, you're not going to see a lot of activity within the application itself. It replicates the data underneath the covers. What I've got here is I've got our SQL Server source and destination behind us here, and I want to go and just show you simply a quick change that we'll make. We're going from SQL Server 2008 to SQL Server 2012. So in 2008, we'll just go ahead and change this state from Washington, click off it to commit the change, and then we'll go over and we'll rerun the query for the destination, and as you can see, that changed from Texas to Washington. In regards to the capabilities of this tool, it doesn't necessarily just replicate the source as it exists. You have the capability of changing, modifying, altering to a certain extent the source data as it's going to the destination. What I'm going to do now is go in and I'm going to map the columns, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop the target table. So what that does is simply remove the target table. So we're in the SQL Server 2012 over here. We'll go over and refresh these, and my customers table is no longer there. Now within this, I want to go in and I want to add a row. I'm going to go ahead and then add a function, and I'm just going to create a now function for a timestamp for every time a record that is changed and replicated will be then populated over to the destination table. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just add that, and we'll need to give it a timestamp data type, and we'll go ahead and select done. Now I'm going to go ahead and deploy this again, and this is going to go through and it's going to deploy that replication. It's going to then issue an initial state, which is a snapshot picture of that source database. So we're now back to replicating. So now I'm going to have to close this guy down because my structure is different. And we'll go ahead and refresh my destination over here again. Yeah, let's go refresh. And we got our customers table in here. And let's go ahead and take a look at just the top 1,000 rows. And as you can see, we now have added a new column through the replication tool to get this timestamp for the source data. So now what I'm going to do is do one last change, and we'll go ahead and show that coming across again. We'll move this back to Texas, and that gets committed. We'll come back over to our destination. We'll go ahead and execute that, and as you can see, our state has been replicated immediately over to the destination at Texas. Now, the beautiful thing about this is we're able to replicate the data, but in essence, you've moved the data. Now you need to look at it in some tool. And as Paul mentioned, we do have a new product called the Excel Add-in. And looking at my Excel spreadsheet here, we do have the CONNX header up here on the toolbar. And I've already created a connection wizard. So simply you use a connection wizard, and we're going to look at the orders data that I've just replicated over to the SQL Server. And we'll go ahead and say OK. And it automatically goes in and just brings that in. Now, the beauty of this is when you set this up, we are a fully ANSI 92 compliant product. So really, whatever query you choose to utilize within this, you can bring back. This is simply a select star on the orders table. You can do a complicated three-table join between customers, orders, and products and bring in the data that you truly want to see. Save the connection so that you then do have a situation where you have a two-click report, just as I showed you there. Now, the last product I'd like to show you is going to be our KPiSync. And that is our, let's go ahead and bring a couple of these guys up here. That is our mobile device tool. That's going to give you the ability to get key performance indicators down on a mobile device. As Paul mentioned, we work with Windows, we work with Android, and we work with iOS. And now you can see here in the KPiSync Administrator, what we have here is we have the ability to set up users. So I've been set up as an administrator on here, and I've set up 3 specific users to receive KPIs. Excuse me. Within our KPIs, I've created 4 separate KPIs here. Now, the beauty of this product is when we create a KPI, you're no longer required, you're not going to get every KPI that's created. We have the ability to break down who sees what KPIs. And we do this through the subscribe button here. And as you can see, actually, let's go ahead and actually select the test user account. And we'll go to subscribe. Now, it'll give you a list of all the groups of KPIs that you have and the actual KPIs that you've created. And as you can see, I've subscribed the test user account to see the 30-day lead volume and the current month leads KPIs. So when we go to our mobile device, and I have a mobile emulator sitting up here, what we'll do is, oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Oops, now I'm clicking the wrong way. All right, let's go ahead and get into KPiSync here. There we go. So now we'll need to log in with that test user account. Oops. Test user. And we'll need to put in the appropriate password. And then we'll need to sign in. And what this will do is this will simply go out and it will pull down the KPIs that this user has been subscribed to. So it's a really nice tool in the fact that you can set up KPIs for HR. You can set up KPIs for warehousing and inventory. You can set up KPIs for sales. And they can all be separated so that, you know, a CEO can be available, can have them available to him, all of them. And then the HR, sales, and inventory departments or warehousing departments can see only the respective KPIs that they've been subscribed to. Now, the thing I want to do is I want to go into our KPIs. And we're going to go ahead and minimize our, or actually I'm going to go ahead and close down Excel. And we're going to go over to SQL Server, and this is the source data that I'm actually running the KPIs on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change some of the data so that the actual KPI itself will change. So we've gone ahead and we've changed some data. We're going to go ahead and push all. and we're going to let this push. Now, once this is done, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the KPI itself and show you what we're looking at. Okay, so we're looking at the 30-day monthly lead. Let's go take a look at the properties of that. Now, within the actual creation of the KPIs, you have some basic information, obviously title, category, description, the query that you want to run, which will be here, and this will then give you the information that you're going to want for the key performance indicator. And that'll give you the idea of what the data is that you're looking for. Then at the bottom of this, you have the ability to set up your conditional formatting and how you want these to be seen. Do you want what levels you want the green to be seen on, what levels you want the yellow to be seen on, and what levels you want the red to be seen on. So consequently, at the very bottom of this, you have the ability to select different images that you want for the KPIs, and then you will get the data fed down to the mobile device. Now, it looks like we're a little bit slow here. Let me go ahead and refresh this guy. Yeah, it looks like we have a bit of connectivity issue with the cloud right now. But as you see, it was just fed down, and your KPIs have changed to what the values are. So we now are green for the 30-day lead volume. You're in a good place. Your current month leads are down to 30, though, so that's something that you want to look at and possibly address in quick fashion. That's my practical demonstration, so let me go ahead and turn it back over to Harple.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you for that demo, and thank you, Paul, for the overview of the technology. So in summary, we got a chance to see our real-time solution to replicate data real-time from your source systems to whatever you may be looking for in a target system, a data warehouse, another application, a data mart, or maybe for disaster recovery. So our InstantdbSync real-time solution is fast, easy, scalable, and minimizes the risk of doing custom code or other ways of doing replication. You got to see our CONNX Excel Add-in, which gives you quick two-click access to over 120 data sources and simplifies the ability to get to multiple data sources, as Kurt was showing. And also, finally, we got to see a streaming analytics platform, our KPiSync, which delivers KPIs to any mobile device, whether it be an iPhone, an Android phone, or a Windows phone, or the equivalent tablets. At this point, in the last couple of minutes, I'd like to turn over to see what questions have come in, and we've been compiling a few in the meantime, so I'm going to go through these, and we'll, please, if you have more questions, type them into the chat feature. So the first question is from Steve. Our first question is, can you consolidate two separate systems into one SQL Server data warehouse? I have two instances of SAP and just acquired another company that has Microsoft Dynamics. Can you help? So in this particular question, yes, InstantdbSync would give you the ability to capture data from all three sources and move that over to a data warehouse for whatever you may be looking to do, reporting or things like that. I've got another question here from John. Is in your KPiSync product, can people from different groups be restricted to only seeing their KPIs? Apologize, it's hard to read off the screen sometimes. Yes, so in KPiSync, it actually is quite easy to put together a set of users by line of business, so an executive can get their view of the world, yet different people in different districts, departments, areas only see what they're entitled to see. The security level will allow that and be those as we saw real time. Another question from Bill. We find that many of our users end up putting everything in Excel anyways. We have three databases that I would like to see in Excel as one worksheet. Can you take data from our three sources, SQL Server, Oracle, and vSAM on the mainframe? Great question, Bill. That's actually, so we touched a little bit on that. We only showed our Excel add-in getting data from one data source, but yes, we can get from multiple data sources. as we support over 120 different data sources, we can, as long as it's a supported technology, and all three of these are noted, we can go ahead, connect to them, and then provide two-click access to all your consumers so they can then have live access, pull the data in, and manipulate the data, do whatever computations, calculations they want, and have that information in that spreadsheet. Again, the whole value of the Excel Add-in is to be able to simplify that access. We see a lot of customers, we have a reporting and query tool, Infonaut, they tend to take those reports and just export that information to Excel. So we've kind of cut out the middleman, if you will, and give you that direct data access. I'm getting the time signal here, so I think we're running up against our time. For those other questions that are in the chat box, we'll go ahead and we'll respond to folks. I will just point out a couple of things here. If you want to learn more about the products, please go to CONNX.com products, all products, and you can find information specifically on InstantdbSync, KPiSync, and the add-in, plus our other products that we have. You can follow us on Twitter at CONNX Solutions. Please email any questions you may have to sales@connex.com. There's a phone number, and again, there's links. You can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Looks like I kept that right under 30 minutes. We'll hope to see you at another event soon. Take care.